Abigail, the wisest woman in the Bible, emerges as a figure of remarkable intelligence and discernment in the Old Testament. Her story, often overshadowed by more prominent figures, offers a profound lesson on the ability to act wisely in moments of great adversity and imminent danger. She is a living example of how prudence can avert wrath and transform destinies, altering the course of history. For those seeking purpose, wisdom, and unwavering transformation in their own lives, Abigail's narrative resonates deeply. She demonstrates that true strength lies not just in power or wealth, but in the insight to understand human and spiritual dynamics, acting with integrity and courage under pressure. Her relevance transcends time, offering valuable insights. To truly appreciate the depth of Abigail's wisdom, it is essential to understand the setting in which she lived. Her story cannot be isolated from the historical and cultural context of ancient Israel, a period marked by conflicts, rigid social hierarchies, and the rise of powerful figures. The next part will take us into this world to uncover the circumstances that shaped her extraordinary intervention. Abigail's story unfolds during a tumultuous period in Israel's history, at a time when David was a fugitive from King Saul. David, with his group of about 400 men, lived in the mountains and deserts, protecting shepherds and flocks in exchange for provisions, a common practice for wandering warrior groups of the era. It was an environment of constant tension and vigilance. In this setting, the family of Nabal, Abigail's husband, prospered. Nabal was a rich man in Maon, owning vast herds of sheep and goats, but he was known for his impulsiveness and ill temper. His wealth was contrasted by his arrogance and lack of hospitality, characteristics that were considered grave social offenses in the ancient Middle East, where hospitality was a supreme value. The culture of the time imposed severe restrictions on women, who generally had little autonomy and were viewed as property of their husbands or fathers. Abigail's role as the wife of Nabal, an obstinate and foolish man, made her position particularly vulnerable. However, her intelligence and discernment transcended the social expectations of her time and place. Imagine life in an arid and dangerous region where safety was a mirage and alliances were fluid. Nabal's refusal to acknowledge and reward the protection offered by David was not merely an impoliteness, but a dangerous affront that could quickly escalate into a bloody conflict. It was like striking a match near a powder keg with unpredictable consequences. This context of wealth, arrogance, imminent danger, and the delicate position of a woman in a patriarchal society sets the stage for Abigail's actions. Understanding this dynamic is fundamental to appreciating the depth of her wisdom and the impact of her choices, which will be the focus of our analysis of the wisest woman in the Bible and her crucial intervention. When David sent his men to request provisions from Nabal, as was the custom of the time, Abigail's arrogant husband rejected them with insults. Nabal showed blatant contempt, not only for David but for the principles of honor and reciprocity expected. This affront ignited David's fury, who promptly armed his men, swearing vengeance against Nabal and his entire household, determined to annihilate all the men. Abigail, upon being informed of her husband's foolishness by one of her young servants, realized the gravity of the situation with terrifying clarity. She knew that death was imminent, and that only immediate and extraordinary action could avert catastrophe. Her response was not one of despair, but of cold, calculating discernment, acting with a courage that defied social conventions. Without hesitation, and without informing Nabal, Abigail quickly gathered a generous amount of provisions: 200 loaves of bread, 2 wineskins, 5 roasted sheep, 5 measures of roasted grain, 100 clusters of raisins, and 200 cakes of figs. She loaded them onto donkeys and set out to meet David, demonstrating leadership and initiative rarely seen in women of her era. Her audacious action, moreover, raises ethical questions about disobedience to marital authority for the sake of a greater good. This reveals the complexity of her choices and the depth of her discernment in a patriarchal society. If you value deep analyses like this, please subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Your interaction helps strengthen our community of unwavering faith. Abigail approached David with profound humility, prostrating herself before him. She took the blame for Nabal's foolishness and fervently interceded, asking for forgiveness and offering the provisions as a gift of peace and reparation. Her masterfully chosen words not only disarmed David's fury but also revealed the prophetic vision of his future, paving the way for his ascent. Abigail's wisdom first manifests in her ability to anticipate the devastating consequences of Nabal's and David's actions. She did not wait for calamity to strike, but acted proactively to avert an inevitable course of violence. Her vision extended beyond the present, seeing both the danger and the potential for redemption in a moment of pure human irrationality. Beyond immediate action, Abigail's diplomacy and rhetoric are remarkable examples of her intelligence. Her words to David were not merely an apology, but a prayer imbued with recognition of divine sovereignty and David's purpose in Israel's history. She reminded him of his future position as king, appealing to his honor and God's plan for his life, demonstrating both astuteness and faith. She demonstrated a profound understanding of human nature and the psychology of power. By humbling herself and taking responsibility, Abigail prevented David from becoming an impulsive avenger, sparing him the guilt of shedding innocent blood. Her approach was strategic, transforming David's anger into consideration, revealing mastery in handling conflicts peacefully yet firmly. Abigail's attitude also reflects a rare combination of courage and spiritual discernment. She acted with unwavering conviction, not fearing the repercussions of going against her husband to preserve lives. Her faith was not passive, but active and pragmatic, guided by a keen perception of divine justice and the need to intervene in an imperfect and often violent world. Thus, the story of Abigail, the wisest woman in the Bible, is not just an account of an isolated event, but a case study on the application of wisdom in extreme circumstances. Understanding these principles is crucial to grasping how they can be translated into the challenges of contemporary life. Cultivating a resilient mind and spirit, the principles of wisdom demonstrated by Abigail offer a roadmap for dealing with conflicts and crises in modern life. Her proactive approach teaches us not to wait for problems to escalate, but to face them with discernment and courage before they cause irreparable harm. This requires an honest assessment of the situation, without allowing fear or inertia to paralyze action. Abigail's diplomacy, based on humility and respect, is a model for resolving personal and professional conflicts. Instead of directly confronting aggression, she sought language that validated the opponent while presenting a just and honorable solution. This tactic of disarming anger with grace and truth is incredibly powerful and effective. Ability to discern David's character and purpose, even in his fugitive phase, reveals the importance of looking beyond immediate appearances. For us, this means developing intuition and insight to understand the true intentions and potentials of those around us, avoiding superficial judgments and seeking the deeper truth in every situation. However, applying Abigail's wisdom does not mean acting thoughtlessly or disrespecting authorities irresponsibly. It is fundamental to discern when disobedience is an ethical necessity to prevent a greater evil, and when it is merely rebellion. Her wisdom lies in the motivation and intention to preserve life and justice, not in challenging for the sake of challenging. Thus, the story of Abigail, the wisest woman in the Bible, challenges us to cultivate a wisdom that is practical. Courageous, have you wondered how the wisdom of Abigail, the wisest woman in the Bible, can be applied to your personal journey, especially when you feel tired and in search of purpose? The practical steps to incorporate this wisdom into your life begin with attentive listening and reflection on the situations that arise, seeking to understand not only the problem but also its roots and possible solutions that promote peace and justice. It's not about following a rigid manual, but about developing a mindset of discernment. A valuable additional resource is continuous reading and meditation on biblical texts that highlight feminine wisdom, such as Proverbs 31 and other narratives of women who demonstrated faith and intelligence. Furthermore, seeking faith communities or study groups that delve into these themes can offer enriching perspectives and mutual support. The exchange of experiences and constructive discussion broaden understanding and solidify learning. If you found value and inspiration in Abigail's story and wish to continue exploring paths to wisdom and transformation in your life, consider subscribing to this channel and leaving a like. Your participation helps us reach more people who, like you, seek unwavering purpose and faith. Comment below on which lessons from Abigail resonate most with you. Abigail's story is not just an ancient account, but a beacon of timeless wisdom. It teaches us that true strength lies in the ability to act with discernment, humility, and faith, even in the face of adversity. By internalizing these principles, you will be better prepared to face life's challenges with a renewed perspective, building unwavering faith and a clear purpose.